Hi there, it's Colette, and in this episode, I chat with Dr. Sujatha and I from the Amrita City Ayurvedic Clinic in Bali, and we're discussing neurodegenerative disease. Examples of neurodegenerative disease includes Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington disease, motor neuron disease, and dementia. So please stay tuned to find out how Ayurveda can help with these diseases. Hello and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend you listen to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. I've also set up a Facebook group for us to connect and to support each other, and I'd love for you to join me over at Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And now here's the show. Hello and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda. Today I'm very happy to welcome back Dr. Sujatha, who is lead Ayurvedic physician and co-founder of Amrita City Ayurvedic Clinic in Ubud, Bali. Dr. Sujatha completed her Ayurvedic degree in India before relocating to Bali in 2004. Now, Dr. Sujatha was my doctor and mentor in 2014 when I arrived in Amrita City for my first Panchakarma. And I told this story back in podcast episode number 5, which is titled Ayurveda and Healing in Bali. So I have so much gratefulness for Dr. Sujatha because Dr. Sujatha, you helped me out so much. I arrived a burnt out mess at your clinic back in 2014 and you helped me out so much. So I owe you a great deal. How are you today?
I'm good, Colette. Very nice to hear from you. Yes, I met you as a patient, but you've been a very dedicated patient and then you got inspired into Ayurveda. And since then, you've been doing a great work. And I'm very grateful that whatever you learned from me and then you developed it and you growing through that. I'm very fond to hear that.
Oh, yeah. No, you were a huge mentor for me in Ayurveda and inspiration. And you started this whole journey. You know, you healed me first, and then it was just like a snowball effect from there. I just kept gaining more knowledge. So yeah, and it was the big part of my path meeting you. So today I'm going to talk with Dr. Sujatha about neurodegenerative disease. Now, during my time at the Amrita City Ayurvedic Clinic, I witnessed many clients coming to Dr. Sujatha with neurodegenerative conditions. And I really watched in amazement at the profound effect that the Ayurvedic treatments had on their conditions. So I want to start, Dr. Sujatha, by just giving the listeners a brief explanation of neurodegenerative disease, if I may. Just to explain to people that this is an umbrella term for a range of conditions which affect the brain and particularly the neurons. Now, just to explain to you that the neurons are the working cells of the brain specialized to transmit information throughout the body, and they communicate via chemical and electrical forms. For example, our sensory neurons transmit information from the sensory receptor cells throughout the body to the brain. So these sensory neurons translate what's happening in our external environment into internal electrical impulses. These electrical impulses can then activate our motor neurons and result in muscular contraction, like, for example, lifting our arm to lift a cup of tea or something. Now, neurons are building blocks of our nervous system, and they don't normally reproduce or replace themselves. Therefore, when they become damaged or die, they cannot be replaced by the body. This means that neurodegenerative conditions result in progressive degeneration, causing problems with mental function and movement. Now, examples of neurodegenerative diseases include Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, motor neuron disease, and dementia. And according to Alzheimer's Association, dementia is a general term for a decline in mental ability severe enough to interfere with daily life. Dementia is not a specific disease, more that it's an overall term that describes a wide range of symptoms associated with a decline in memory or other thinking skills severe enough to reduce a person's ability to perform everyday actions. Now, dementia is characterized by the impairment of at least two of these mental functions. It could be memory, communication and language, ability to focus and pay attention, reasoning and judgment, or visual perception. Dr. Sujatha, thank you for your patience there while I explain that to the listeners, because I thought it was important to lay that foundation first. But now I'm going to hand it over to you and your wisdom and all the study that you did in Ayurveda. Can you tell us what Ayurveda says about neurodegenerative disease, please?
Okay, thank you, Colette. Well explained. According to Ayurveda, neurodegenerative diseases come under the like a general categorization under the Vata imbalance. Vata being the energy which in our body works like an electrical energy. So it's an energy, it's an impulse that carries all the messages. So in greatly describing Vata is it's energy that's very much linked to our nervous system. So the nervous system which controls our entire body through the electric impulses, both sensory and motor. So when this Vata, it can either increase or decrease. It can go in both the extreme and it fails to do its function, coordinating with the nerves, connecting the nerves, taking the sensory message into your brain, and the brain transferring that into a motor functions. So when Vata becomes too little or too low, it becomes flaccid. It's like electric current is not flowing in our body. Or when in condition of Vata aggravates or becomes too much, it's like too much of electric current, and then it kind of breaks those synapses where the nerve junctions where they transfer the message from one neuron to the other neuron. Like a burnout, like when you have a short circuit happens and your electric cable get burned out. So this what happens when there is too much of Vata. And when too much of Vata increases in your body, it affects particularly our adrenals. So too much of adrenals production start to take place. That's what we call stress. So when this happens, your body is shooting out lots of adrenals to fight or fight. So body is like in an alert zone, too much of energy flowing. And then the neurons are not capable of carrying these impulses, comes constantly and distributing into your cells. So as a result, it freezes and body is left to digest the cortisol as a result of that. And people become too much of stress. And then the electric impulse, the body never get into a resting zone to recuperate and to have this smooth flow of electricity in the body. So that's when either it can be increased by Vata or too little Vata can lead into neurodegenerative. But what I see commonly is if the Vata is too low, the flow is blocked. So which is something you can stimulate and bring it back. You need to work with your body tissues and your digestive system, your hormones, and the flow can be recreated, rebalanced. But when it goes to too high, that's when it becomes a little bit challenging and sometimes it could be destroyed. Like a degenerative is a process where the body doesn't grow anymore. It declines its growth. So it's almost like a shrinking process happens. And as we know, Vata is dry in nature. And whenever there is a dryness, it starts to shrink. It starts to collapse. So that's what the process. So there is no energy, the electrical force, which is flowing between two nerve cells and conducting themselves and sending the message all over the body. So this is what happens when Vata is too high, and that's where the degeneration process takes place. And Vata is too low, it's a temporary blockage which can be regenerated.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic explanation. Thanks for that. Yeah, this is the problem with the neurons because they don't regenerate. And this is why we really need to take care of them earlier on in life, right? Because once it starts progressing, yes, we can stabilize the situation, but it's not like we can regenerate new neurons.
Yes. What I also see is, regeneration in the neurons not possible. What Ayurveda can beautifully do is arrest at the stage where you are at. So if the degeneration process has started, and also it's not always completely degeneration. Okay, some of those neurons are degenerating, but the others are like a totally like a numb. They're in a state of inactive.
Yes.
So that can be, you stimulate. So you could have the one which are sleepy in nature, because there are like, we know that like our brain is not completely used. They're a part of our brain, part of our cells being not used. So with the proper therapy, both, physical level, emotional level, spiritual level. So some of the neurons which are being not active, you could bring them back into active, and they can do the functions which used to be done by those neurons. At the moment they are like dead or not functioning.
They're not being utilized, so they just go into hibernation. So when you say that there's too little vata, it's been blocked, is it being blocked by a kapha aggravation? Is it kapha blocking?
Absolutely. Whenever in our body vata goes too low, kapha takes over. So kapha becomes high, because those two are the very opposing energy in our body. So when vata low, automatically kapha increases. And in a person where the vata is a predominant energy and their whole body functions efficiently with lots of this electrical energy from vata, in them, if the kapha increases, the body doesn't have the purpose of that. So the body can't use that kapha in a healthy way. It would be very different if a kapha constitution person who have got good amount of kapha, in that body, kapha has a purpose. So, but a vata constitution person's vata is too little and their kapha becomes too, it becomes a disease state. Because in that body, kapha has no role. And when the kapha has no role, it's going to block the vata.
Oh, very interesting. So kapha has no role because they are a high vata constitution.
Yes, and the body functions with more of an electrical energy. That's why those people are quick and multitasking and, spontaneous and all those qualities. So for them, kapha in their body is needed very little. It's like a different kinds of electric cables we run in our home for electricity and different appliances, right? So if an appliances can carry a certain amount of electricity and you put a low electricity to flow into it, it's not going to turn on the apparatus or turn on the light. It's the same thing in the body. So it's like electric cable is equivalent to our human body or your neurological function. So it needs certain amount of electricity to keep that body functioning. That's neuropsychological physiology to continue. But when you don't have that amount of electricity, it's not going to operate.
Very interesting. So there are obviously very many different types of neurodegenerative conditions, Dr. Sujatha. So is it primarily that you would have either high vata aggravation or high kapha aggravation blocking the vata? Is that correct to say?
That's a one category. Okay. Yeah, you could say, okay, so the vata is the main reason. So vata is the predominant cause because it's a seat of vata that's getting affected. And all the electrical impulses are governed by vata's movement, this swift quality. And when vata is a primary cause, and then depending on which part of the body, what kind of the neurodegenerative disease we are talking about, it can be influenced by pitta or kapha. So vata is a base. So vata need to be there in order to call you have a neurological problem. And if you take example of vata disturbing the pitta further in creating inflammation, so you could see in MS, multiple sclerosis, where basically vata disturbs the pitta, pulls that into from its original seat where it should be doing its functions like digestion and cellular metabolism, where it's get pulled out and brought into the nerve tissues, and it start to like an inflammation of the myelin tissue of the nerve covering, and it get inflamed and it creates scar tissue. Again, further supporting the vata aggravation because it's a hardening of the myelin tissue.
Right.
So there you can see the involvement of pitta. And then in conditions like say memory, dementia, or Alzheimer, so there's a pure connection between aggravated vata and then aggravated kapha. So it's like a blockages. The messages doesn't convey between two neurons. So it's like it's dull, state of dullness. So there you would see the kapha involvement. And in Parkinson's, it could be a mixture of all the three happening, because it goes from a very flaccid state when dopamines are not working well. Your muscle can become very flaccid and dull, whereas too little vata and increased kapha, or sometimes inflammation triggering too much of vata and having hyperkinesia, like a involuntary movement, and too much movement or too fast movements.
Right. So really the communication system in the body is really affected.
Yeah.
And getting all those messages to the brain and the muscles is really affected.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That really clarifies a lot. Now, obviously in Ayurveda, there's no one size fits all. So when you have a patient come in, I guess you have to really have a long conversation first to try diagnose exactly what's going on, right? And what doshas are aggravated.
True. It's not only like, I usually schedule 1 hour for a consultation when an initial person comes for a panchakarma or for a cure. But usually in these conditions, it's not only understanding physiology, there's symptoms and stuff. There's a lot you need to know what's been going on in their emotional level and what's been going on in their life, because nerve or vata is directly connected to your mind. Yeah. And when aggravation or a ama state or dysfunction happens, it can happen in the mind level. In my experience, most of the time when I have seen a patient with memory-related issues, whether it's named as Alzheimer's or dementia, what I see is emotion plays a huge role there. Without addressing the emotional part, doing just the medicines, you can still achieve some result, but in order to make it sustainable and take them to a level where they can say, okay, the healing is taking place and they can get back into their normal life, you need to really work on their emotions. What I see in Alzheimer's is, it's my experience that Alzheimer's, it's a forgetfulness. You forget things. Okay, yes, your neurons are not working. It's not working hard enough to dig the memories and make connection. So in an emotional level, what I see happens is those patients have got a lot to do with some of the painful memories, feelings and stuff, which they were never able to process, communicate, share, that it's been blocked. It's almost like they decide, okay, this is over. I want to forget them all. I don't want to remember. My life has been hard. My memories are so hard. I don't have much joyful memory to think and connect. So they're almost like tired and burdened by lots of emotions and feelings. So it's like you want to forget. So that's deep down there happening, or they constantly, okay, I need to forget this. I can't deal with it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to feel this.
So true. And I think, of course, when we're younger, we can get away with this. When we suppress emotions or don't digest experiences that we've had in our lives, or traumatic or whatever type of experiences we've had. And then it really comes back to haunt us later in life when we have less resources and our channels are more overburdened. And then now these undigested emotions are basically clogging the way, right?
Yes, and also we don't have much way or method to distract ourselves. When we get older, that's also the reason lots of people who've been busy and working, when they retired, lots of diseases and lots of neurological problems start to happen, because we put our attention to something else. We keep our mind busy, we engage ourselves. But when that is not happening, then you're left with ourselves. Right. And if we can't really feel that inner peace, and then it leads into manifestation of the diseases.
That's such a good point, Dr. Sujatha. It's so true. We keep ourselves in the busyness of life because we don't want to sit down and take a look at ourselves. And this is where things like Panchakarma and Ayurveda are great, because you're taking those few weeks out to really reflect and do the inner work so that you can go forward, preventing disease and illness, and, taking time out to not only reflect on anything that's not processed, but also look at where you want to go forward, So I think it's so important for us to take this time out in the earlier years in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and helping us to get in touch with our consciousness. Vata is nothing but consciousness. So Vata in its pure form, it's consciousness. That's why when we do pranayama or meditate on our breath, we connect to the consciousness, the intelligence of our body and of the universe. So, and when you do panchakarma, you basically detach yourself from all the external stimulus and the things we do back at home and stuff, and you surrender yourself to the process, into your body, mind, spirit concept, and you dive into that. And to heal and connect, you just do is connect to your consciousness and allow the support of the team and the process you're going through to bring those energy and the matter, the organs, the physiology to its perfect balance. So to trust in the intelligence of each and every cell in your body. And it knows what to do. So you don't need to do anything. You just want to create that environment and support. And through the ghee process or through the different Ayurvedic treatment, you reteaching, you letting go, and you really think into what really matters and what doesn't matter. And then the body start to do what it need to do.
That's beautiful. Beautiful explanation. And I think that's the biggest lesson we can all learn as well, is letting go. Letting go, that not always to be the driver. And sometimes we need to let others support us and to let go and just let the body's intelligence take over for a little while. And, you know, I mentioned earlier, Dr. Sujatha, about how I was amazed at some of the patients I saw coming through your clinic when I was there. Can you share with us a case study of a client who had a neurodegenerative disease and how you went about that protocol? That'd be amazing.
I always remember this one lady. I think first time I met her, she was in her late 20s. She had a son, and she had multiple sclerosis. So she was on medication, steroids. When I first met her, she's been taking steroids and on the top antidepressants. So lots of the neurological, physical debility. And when you're young and you are a mother, you know, it takes a lot of toll on you. You know, you have such a long life in front of you, and you are facing this challenge. And the Western medical system generally, for them, arresting the symptom, that's good. It's really needed. Like steroids are important when you start to have a certain inflammatory condition in a muscle level, on a nerve level. You want to stop it, because inflammation, if it takes over, it's like a forest getting burned by fire. Right. It can totally burn and destroy. So it's good to control the acute onset of inflammation, but you want to find a way how you can reverse it and stop it without needing to take this anti-inflammatory. Throwing water on the fire is not the solution, because fire is going to continue. So she came regularly for panchakarma couple of years in a row, and she was totally stopped all the steroids. She's totally off antidepressants and sleeping medication, and she had gained her strength back. She used to have a weakness in one side of her leg. She used to drag it, but totally now she has no symptoms, not on medication. And the earlier you treat, earlier you look into how to control inflammation, how to control your stress, the quicker you're able to see the result and you can stop the process. This is what I would say in my experience. Also, I had another case of Parkinson's. Her Parkinson's was being not diagnosed exactly, so they thought maybe some other neurological conditions, like and it was never been diagnosed. They even thought it could be MS and then Parkinson's. So finally, medical doctors in US confirmed that this is Parkinson's, and she's been on like a heavy dose of medication, so slow releasing dopamines and quick releasing dopamines, and certain other medication which helps to convert the dopamine in your body so that it can use it cross the blood-brain barrier. So she was on heaps of medicine. What I worked with her and what the result we got at the moment, she was recently here for her third cure. She's able to maintain her symptoms. What happens in Parkinson, when the medicine becomes too low, your body becomes flaccid, that you have no control, you can't move, paralyzed. When the medicine is too much, you're contracted, you're very stiff. So what we could achieve is reducing the medicine and have the medicine last in our body for longer, and lots of rigidity, pain, involuntary movement. These are the things we could achieve a big result. And also with Parkinson's patient, there's always ache and pain in the body, also, and sleep, anxiety issues. These are the things, because it's extreme vata. Vata is a bit chaotic in the body. Either it goes too low, too high. Energy affects a lot. Their energies keep fluctuating. So with Panchakarma and with our medication, we were able to stabilize their energy, their mood, their sleep, aches and pain, and the medicine to work longer and in a very balanced way. So this is what we were able to do through Ayurvedic medicine and the patient's commitment.
Fantastic. And that's the thing. It is a commitment. And she was just back for her third Panchakarma. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Ayurveda. It takes time. Definitely, I saw within Amirta City a huge change within the 3 weeks. But there is a commitment to, when you go back to your normal life, is that you have to commit to dinacharya, these daily self-care practices, and reducing stress and so on. And I'd love to talk a little bit about that now, Dr. Sujatha, is how does Ayurveda prevent the loss of these vital neurons? In the West, for example, there is a focus on slowing down the progression of the disease after its onset with drugs and therapy. However, in Ayurveda, the more the focus is on prevention and bringing in diet and lifestyle changes to protect the brain from cognitive decline before it happens. So what would you suggest to people today of ways that they can prevent the loss of these vital neurons?
One important suggestion I would say, we work so much, we make money, and we totally forget to take care of ourselves. The self-care, giving attention to how you start your day, what you do to look after yourself and nurture yourself, because stress will be always there. We can't control the world, but if we know how to fortify ourselves and find our inner balance and peace and self-acceptance, and with that concept, if you look into the world and go and achieve what you want, you have more tolerance to deal with the stress. And sleep is a very important part in balancing vata. So that's a time where your nervous system like unwinds and relaxes, so it can get ready and strengthened for the next day morning to deal with all the impulses that we take through our senses into our brain and then passing back into our organs and to our tissues. So resting, giving rest, nurturing with good food, and also finding a good way to deal with our emotions, not storing up and piling up and creating emotional indigestion, which can create ama in the mind level. So how we create ama in our body through imbalance in Agni in our gut. So ama can be created with our emotions in the mind level. So finding a measure to keep our gut from ama free and also keeping our mind from ama free. Meditation is a very important tool to keep our mind from free from ama, and fun and joy and connection. Love, these are the things can help to keep our mind free from ama. And love, not like only the love we look from or get from outside, self-love and being fine with who we are. That's the greatest thing Ayurveda has to offer, to say that we all are very unique individual. Nurture that individuality through knowing your constitution and supporting the diet, lifestyle, routine through that, and following the nature's rhythm of going to bed at certain time, waking up with the sunrise and connecting to that rhythm. So body would rhythmically, naturally, because nature has the method to keep the balance, because never the sun is going to say, oh, I'm tired, I was late last night, or I'm going to not wake up, or the sun is always there. The nature knows how to balance. So if we could connect to that rhythm and nature and know when to rest our body and when to wake up our body, and not push too much, not take too much artificial energy boosters like coffee and tea and stimulants to drain our system. They all needed. They are fun to use them wisely, but when it becomes too much to try to squeeze every drop of our energy, when the body is tired, it wants to rest, that's when we kind of over create functioning of adrenals. And once your adrenals are over functioning, your nervous system is the one that's going to backfire you.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. And this wisdom of life educates us on our constitution. And these really simple practices that we can put in place early in life could save us and prevent illness down the line. Simple dinacharya, just understanding how to live with the daily energy cycles. So true, Dr. Sujatha. And doing these regular cleanses at the change of seasons, it's not a lot of effort, but it's once we get into the habit, that's the huge thing. It's just these habit forming. And, and everyone that goes through my daily habits course or cleanses, they feel that direct perception in their body and their mind. And they're like, oh my goodness, I can see the effect this has on me physically, mentally. I want to continue doing this. I'm jumping in here real quick because if you're listening to this saying, oh, I want to do an Ayurvedic consultation, or I want to do a cleanse to keep my body and mind in balance, or I want to learn about these dinacharya, I want to live in tune with the circadian rhythms and get a good sleep ritual in place, I offer all these online. Just click on the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. Now, Dr. Sujatha, if somebody out there is caring for somebody with a neurodegenerative condition, and this is where I'm going to share a little bit of a personal story here. I want to look at what advice we can give to them. And so I'm in Ireland at the moment with my family, and it feels weird for me to share this, but I think it's important too, because I think a lot of people don't talk about these neurodegenerative conditions. You can hear the nervousness in my voice already. But my mum has got early onset dementia. Nothing's completely diagnosed, but definitely there's I'm going to get a bit emotional, but there's definitely a loss of memory and so on. So what would you recommend for people who are caring for people with neurodegenerative conditions?
The person who's having dementia, the most they need is to keep them active. Mm-hmm. Show them warmth, love, motivate them. I did a little course for mentally challenged children many, many years ago. So what I learned there is your nerve grows, they get activated the more you physically move. Yeah. So because their brain cells are not working, the brain has arrested growth. So in order to get the brain more activated, you want to move physically. Mm-hmm. So people who are taking care of people with neurological function, mind-related, memory-related, you want to stimulate them. Yes. You want to stimulate them intellectually, give them challenges, and also do, like a brain gym kind of exercises and physically keep them active. Show them lots of love, lots of affection, and also look into the diet, which helps with vata balancing and keeping minimum ama production in your body, keeping your agni very good, because agni is like a light bulb. You know, that's one which gives the radiant energy in the mind and in the body. And there are lots of brain tonic herbs which can prevent, to a certain degree, arresting further memory loss or further degeneration of cells. Things like Brahmi, Shankapushpa, Jyotishmati, Ashwagandha, I think Jatamamsi, all these herbs, they are brain tonic. And if they can be combined into different formulas to increase their potency, like some of the liquid medicine called Saraswatarishta, Brahmi Rasayana, Manomitra Vataka, Kalyanaka Gulika, all those things have got very special effect on helping with the mind and memory and enhancing the functioning of the neurons. Yeah. So this would be the basic thing everybody could do. Also, some of the researchers have shown that taking regularly turmeric and virgin coconut oil mixed with black pepper can help in preventing the degeneration. And also, if you look into this concept, and I have heard in some researches that in India, the statistics shows that the cases of Alzheimer's is much less compared to other countries. And as you know, the Indian curry, or what we are famous for, turmeric goes into everything. not only with the food, and we use turmeric as a beauty agent, or in face masks and body wraps, and turmeric is common ingredient. So turmeric has shown, also black pepper combined with turmeric, it has a good effect on carrying oxygen into your brain cells. Yeah, so basically death of the cells means it doesn't get enough oxygen, lack of blood circulation. One kind of dementia comes from related to lack of blood circulation into your brain cells. So in this way, these are something everybody could time to time take turmeric, virgin coconut oil, black pepper into their diet, or could give them a teaspoon mixture of this. Like you don't need black pepper, a couple of pinches and a teaspoon of virgin coconut oil and half a teaspoon of turmeric mixed together. And you can mix it with a little bit of raw honey. Honey always works as a good carrier to take the medicine into your cells.
Yeah, and just when you mentioned Alzheimer's and how there's a low count of Alzheimer's in India, it's the 6th leading cause of death in the US when I was doing my research on this, and it kills more people than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. So it's something that we definitely need to be aware of, and again at a younger age. In the case of my mother, I've collected myself now, I can actually talk again, but in the case of my mother, like I said, it's early onset. My mother, I'd say, is definitely that case of a Vata constitution with a Kapha imbalance. She had 6 children, and with each child became more Kapha aggravated, I would say, and was not as stimulated in the last decade, would happily potter around the house, but not much activity and so on. So now what we've done, myself and my siblings, is, making sure that there's more activity there. And we've seen a change now that she is more active, and that there's more stimulation there as well. So that's a good sign, and definitely just trying to stimulate that kapha. And, it can be challenging, of course, when you're dealing with a parent, and many of us out there, I'm sure, are in this situation because, you're their child. And at one stage I would be coming home years ago and saying, now you should do this and do that, and coming with all my Ayurveda knowledge, but you also have to meet them where they are. And like you said, give lots of love and support, and try to put a situation in their home where it's easier, make life easier for them. And there has to be an acceptance, of course, that they're changing, but how can you make their life easier and hopefully stop the progression? And I came across this Living with Dementia from serascan.com, and I love these little points. I'm just going to read them out, if I may, Dr. Sujatha. It was, if you're dealing with somebody, who has a neurodegenerative condition or dementia, this says, agree, never argue, right? Divert, never try to reason. Distract, never shame. Reassure, never lecture. Reminisce, never say remember. Repeat, never say I told you. And, you catch yourself saying these things, but I think the more we're aware of it, the better it is. And it's like a practice in patience and a practice in presence for yourself when you're with somebody who has a neurodegenerative disease. You really have to be in the present moment and very aware of what you say, and you have to slow down. Some other points here, it says, do what they can do, never say you can't. Ask, never demand. Encourage, never condescend. And reinforce, never force. So I am learning so much by spending time. I'm lucky enough now that I'm living closer. I'm living in France, closer to my parents here. I work online, so I can easily come home, spend time in their home with them and help out as much as I can. But my goodness, is it really a learning for me as well in being present, being very aware of what I say and do, and practicing being in the moment. It really means I have to slow down as well. Yeah.
And totally present and aware, and practicing kindness and compassion.
Compassion is huge. Like, I'm not saying, I don't have it perfect. There's definitely times I feel myself, that frustration, like, can't we move this faster? Or, my goodness, I'm repeating this again, but I just have to catch myself. And, that's where meditation comes and helps me, because before I blurt out something like, remember I told you, it makes me stop first, take a breath and go, okay, compassion and just, really makes me slow down. And also just being really, this time is valuable. And with all our aging parents, it's like this time is precious, and knowing that email I have to send or those things that I have to get done for work can wait. This is precious time I have right now.
That's beautifully said, Colette. Your mother must be very happy to have you back at home to look after her.
It's a pleasure, and I'm glad I'm in a situation where I can spend time here with them, and and it definitely takes the support of all my brothers and sisters as well, and lucky enough that they are close by. But I know there's many people out there who have to support aging parents, and it can be challenging. And today I battled with, should I share this, because I feel like I'm discussing my mother, which very private situation, but I do think it's important to discuss it and to put it out
and
there.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who would resonate with your situation, and they will feel reassurance.
Yes, well, hopefully that helped a bit. So, Dr. Sujatha, now I would like to talk about the clinic in Bali, Amrita City, which is a gorgeous clinic. And if people out there are going, I really want to go and do a panchakarma, or I want to take my friend or a parent who has a neurological condition, or just for any other sort of health issue, where can they find you? And I know you did a massive renovation recently, so can you tell us about that, please?
Okay. Yeah, we have expanded our facility. We added more accommodation rooms. At the moment, we have 18 rooms, which can accommodate up to 25 people at a time. And we have created a beautiful garden with the little gazebos for people to rest and relax. During the program, we have added a ozone pool. And we're very strict with the internet. So we intentionally no TV and no internet in the rooms, because we depend on our life.
That is so good.
On the internet and stuff. So, but we still, because everything functions through the internet, so we want to keep that connection happening for people. So we have added a little media conference room, so where we provide internet for people if they need to communicate with their families or have some urgent work to be taken care and stuff, so people can go there, spend their time. And we close that also in the evening by 6:30. So that means evenings are free from internet. So these are the new facility that we have added. In every rooms are surrounded by beautiful garden space. And this is new since a year. And if people who are looking into holistic way of working their body, mind, and spirit, and taking health into their hands, want to learn, so they can reach us through our website, www.amritasiddhi.com. We have a Facebook page, Amrita Siddhi, and also we have an Instagram page called Amrita Siddhi too. They can reach us through that. They can just drop us an email, or they can browse through our website and see if any programs resonates, if they can understand the programs, and they can choose. If they don't know what program, they can just drop an email and mention to us about what's their intention, why do they want to do the panchakarma, and one of our doctors would get back to them recommending what would be best, or maybe we will give them a call, or if they want to talk to us, then we give an appointment time for them to call us.
Perfect. And I loved when you did that with the internet. I think it's great that it was only in one area on the campus, and that you made you very conscious of when you were going online, how long you were spending online, and the fact that it was shut down in the evening. It's just really creates that awareness, and so necessary for our healing to have less time online. I think that's wonderful.
Yes.
So for all those people out there, I'm going to, of course, put all those links in the show notes for you. But just to spell out Amrita Siddhi, it's AMRTASIDDHI, and the link will be in the show notes. Can you tell us, I presume we discussed in the last episode, but just share for us a little what that actually means, Amrita Siddhi?
Amrita is nectar of life. Siddhi is mastering. So here, mastering the nectar of life that keeps you balanced, healthy, happy, and prolongates your life. So the whole concept of Amrita Siddhi is mastering that nectar of life, and the concept of that health is easy. You can take health in your hand, and we want to guide people or bring more awareness into people that it's easy to be healthy, happy, and take care of your health. It's not such a huge challenge. So once you just tune into it, listen to your body, and it becomes a second nature to you. Like the morning we wake up and we walk like a zombie to the bathroom. Nobody thinks where you want to go, right? So we walk straight into the bathroom. So once you tune and understand your inner rhythm, external rhythm, the need of the body, and how to support that, and understanding you, so mastering the nectar of your life is easy.
Beautifully said. Absolutely. And I highly recommend Amrita Siddhi. It's like going into a cocoon. It helped me to heal in 2014. And I hope to make it back there soon, Dr. Sujatha.
Love to see you here.
Yeah, no, I hope to make it back there soon. But for anybody out there who's contemplating doing a panchakarma or any other health treatments, Dr. Sujatha offers shorter cleanses as well. If a panchakarma isn't something you want to do, but there's lots of shorter cleanses too. Check out the website. The link is in the show notes, and I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's like a cocoon. You go there, you're taken care of. You can completely let go. You have wonderful treatments, wonderful staff, amazing food, and it's just outside of Ubud. It's just behind the monkey forest, and it's in a lovely little quiet village of New Cunning, which I love, but still within walking distance to Ubud. Bali's called the island of the gods for a reason. You are in a deep healing land.
Thank you, Colette.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Dr. Sujatha, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's late there now, and thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today and share this important information.
You're very welcome.
Hope to connect with you soon again. Take care of yourself and say hi to all in Amrita Siddhi for me.
Thank you. I will do.
Okay,
bye-bye,
take care. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Some really great information there and explanations from Dr. Sujatha and this amazing wisdom from Ayurveda on neurodegenerative conditions. Now, please check out amritasiddhi.com. I will put a link in the show notes and see everything that Dr. Sujatha and her team there in Bali have to offer. I'm also going to share those living with dementia tips in the Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And please share your thoughts or feedback on this episode. If you think this episode will be beneficial to any family or friends, please share it with them, because I think this understanding from Ayurveda about neurodegenerative conditions is key, and it can also help support those who are helping and supporting family members or friends with these diseases. So thank you so much for tuning in. Take good care of yourself. Be well. Until next time, ciao for now.